Hi, well, welcome to the Podcast1700block. I'm your host, Lamont. If you're missing somebody, man, welcome to this thing called life. It's a lot going on. And because it's a lot going on, just stay up, man. It's a lot going on with the voting rights. But like I say, you know, people talking about the voting rights, but people can't focus. People trying to eat. People that lost their job. Goddamn bills is high. People just shit going on out here. Excuse me. I needed that. I was thirsty. There's a lot going on, man. I understand a lot of stuff going on in the White House, but people trying to live. And because people trying to live, they ain't really got time to be focusing on no whole bunch of other stuff right now. So, I get the voting rights for people trying to eat and people trying to vote and people trying to live, people trying to pay bills. And they like, the president and the White House gonna have to take care of itself. I'm gonna have to take care of me over here. And I can't really worry about all that was going on over there, man. And I get it. So, president that lost his mind, the Republicans going crazy, Democrats trying to hold on and fight the best they can. Supreme Court and just gave these motherfuckers whatever they want under the sun, and it's gonna get rough. And it don't look like nothing we can do, but we're gonna be all right. We ain't in a hopeless dilemma. So a lot going on. So the president administration trying to sue James Comey. In case you don't know who James Comey is, let's see who he is. His name is Brian Comey Jr. He was born December the 14th, 1960. So he ain't that old. I was born in 62, but he 2 years younger than me or 2 years older than me. Maybe like 60, 61. He was an American lawyer who he served as the director of Federal Bureau of Investigations for Trump. Trump don't like his ass. He's 65 years old. He's born December 14th, 1960. He's an American lawyer who was served as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigations 2013 and 2017 until he was terminated. Excuse me, him and homeboy had a falling out. He got a wife. His wife is named Patrice. University of Chicago Lawyer School. He went to law school in 1985. Now, him and your boy beefing. But they beefing for two reasons, right? First reason they beefing is because uh in 2017, Donald Trump's animosity towards former FBI Director James Comey stems from 2017 investigation into the Russia interference in 2016 elections, which Trump viewed as politically motivated, which hint key factors, including calmly refusing to plead to pledge personal loyalty to the investigation to the Trump campaign ties, and subsequently leak of memos leading to Trump's firing him in 2017. Conley led the FBI investigation to potential collusion between 2016 Trump campaign and the Russian, which Trump saw as an attempt to undermine his legacy. Or Lake Alamo. Refusal to loyalty comedy documented a private dinner in 2017 where he alleged Trump prosecuting him to plead personal loyalty request currently resisted. Trump arbitrarily, abruptly fired Conley in May of 2017, initially citing him handling of Hillary Clinton emails probe, but later linked it into the Russia probe. Excuse me, something going on over here. Hold on. Let me get myself to go. All right, I got it. He leaked the memo after his firing company acknowledged giving memos about his conversation with Trump to fire, which triggered the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller. Conley became a voice citing Trump. No, he became a voice critic. Trump leading to the Trump labeling him of a dirty cat, showboat, and the leakage. So it continued for years, resulting in September 2025 indictment of Conley later dismissed regarding testimony. So they don't like each other because Conley wouldn't bite his ass. Basically, that's what really happened. And then they got the beef, and then Conley said something to him. You know, Trump like a little baby. Like, soon you say something to him, he like, give me my toys back. He's trying to fire you or take your job or something. So that's why they beefing. That's one reason why they beefing. But you might don't know that there's other reasons. So he has a daughter that sued the Trump administration, and because they fought her. And so because Conley blew the whistle on him and his daughter fired, he got his daughter fired, right? They beefing. So his daughter filed charges. Excuse me, the anesthesia went off. I went to the dentist. That's what happened. So that's why they beefing. So he has a daughter named Maureen. That's Conley's daughter. She, the FBI director, James Conley, is the former federal prosecutor who sued the Trump administration September 2025, alleging she was wrongfully fired from the U.S. Attorney's Office of Southern District of New York for political reasons. A federal judge ruled on September 28th, April 28, 2026, that a lawsuit can proceed. So she's suing the Trump administration. Well, really, she's suing him and the Trump administration because they fought her, and she was doing a hell of a job. She was a highly regarded career prosecutor for over a decade, prosecuting high-profile cases, including Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and Sean Diddy Combs. She was abruptly dismissed in July 2025 with the administration citing Article 11 of the Constitution rather than cause. So they fought without cause. That shit is clearly illegal. She was abruptly dismissed July 25th with the administration citing Article 2. Currently alleged her firing was related by the Trump administration for her familiar connections to her father and permitting critics of Donald Trump. So because she was connected to her father, they fought her because they don't really like him. So because him and Trump was beefing, they fought her. And in turn, she sued him. And then she won. On 28 April 28, 2026, Manhattan Judge Jesse Furman rejected the Department of Justice attempt to dismiss the case, ruling it can prosecute in federal court. Current status, she is seeking reinstatement and back pay, but has since joined a private law firm as a partner. So she want her job back and she want them to pay her money. And the judge granted her that. So there's two things why he can't stand the guy. So he don't like neither one of them. First of all, he don't like him because Conley wouldn't. He stood up to him and was like, "Nah, man, I'm not doing that." Then he blew the whistle on him. And then he don't like his daughter because his daughter, she turned around and did the same thing. So they say some phony eggshells in the sand. Trump say he tried to get him killed, send him. That shit is just crazy, man. You shouldn't even be able to even indict somebody for that. Shit is ridiculous. But they did. So I'm drinking a lot of water. So they did. So that's what happened with that. So now you know why they beefing. I was trying to go on my other platform so y'all can chime in, but something going goofy with it. April was Jazz Month. April 29th, Notable Moments in Black music history, including 1899 birth of composer Yanis Duke Ellington, a pivotal figure in the jazz throughout April. The industry reflects on influential R&B, soul, gospel, and hip hop milestones that shape American music, including recordings from icons like Aretha Franklin and Miles Davis. So April is Jazz Month. We at the end of April, so I figured I would do it now because I had a whole bunch of other stuff I was doing. So in 1899, April 29th, Edward Kennedy Duke Ellington was born. He became a most prolific composer in American history, leading his orchestra for over 50 years. Yeah, the Duke was mean. This period frequently highlighted contributions of Black artists of rock and roll, jazz, and soul. Yeah, the Duke was mean. Duke Ellington was mean. They used to call him Sass something, but he was a mean man. So April is Jazz Appreciation Month. It's JAM, designated to celebrate the extraordinary history or heritage of jazz and uniquely American art from the original in 1890, created in 2001. The Smithsonian National Museum of American History. Jam highlights jazz influence on music and culture worldwide, collaborating with International Jazz Day, April 30th. The purpose: to encourage public appreciation, study, and enjoy of jazz through concerts, education, and media. Origin: created by John Edwards Hanson at the Smithsonian in 2001. Significantly celebrates jazz as living art form, highlight its roots in American South and its evolving into a global music gem. Throughout April, schools, uh, libraries, and cultural institutions hold special performances and workshops. Key events: International Jazz Day, April 3rd, is recognized by the UNESCO and the UN. This day brings together community, schools, and artists to honor the unflying power of jazz. Event highlights: originations like Jazz at the Lincoln create host special concerts, educational programs throughout the month. Theme often focus on the history of the the gen, gen, gen- mm, often focuses on the history of the genre, featuring legends such as Duke Ellington and exploring its diverse subgenres. So just to give you a little bit of history, a little bit of what's going on in April. I'm gonna come a little closer to the camp because I was looking real small back there. Just to give you a little bit, what goes on in April. Um, so it talks about blood pressure music, including jazz and laughter, can lower blood pressure by causing blood vessels to expand by over 30%. So listen to some jazz and try to relax. It's good for your body. It's good for you. I think music is good for your soul any day, anyway, right? Mm, okay, so that's that. I'm not gonna stay here long. So the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Based on the shipping data, April 2026, it appears you are referring to the Strait of Hormuz, where shipping traffic dropped over 95% following the start of the conflict between U.S., Israel, and Iran, February 28th. Um, Export reported approximately 750 to 800 ships were stuck in or around the strait several weeks following the initial blockade. So daily traffic, I try to check it like, I try to check it. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I try to check it like every day. Current situation is despite the ceasefire on April 8th, traffic remains restricted and constricted with many operations avoiding the area. So they going another way. They ain't coming that way. Um, Traffic has reduced 5% of the pre-war. Up to 20,000 seafarers or roughly 2,000 vessels have been reported as stranded in the Gulf. Tanker traffic, over 150 tankers were reported as anchored in the region. So you have 150 tankers anchored, and you got 2,000 seafarers, or roughly 20,000, roughly 2,000 sea vessels have been reported as stranded. So it's a lot that's going on. It's a lot. They keep saying it's open, man. It's 2,000 or 20,000 ships stranded. Can you imagine 20,000 ships just stranded in the Persian Gulf? Um, that's crazy, man. The Persian Gulf is deep enough to submerge, but it's shallow, narrow, averaging only 50 meters, 164 feet, makes it a challenge. Environmental suits primarily to a small coastal midget submarines rather than a large deep diving vessel, while large Iranian Kalo class submarines need up to 150 plus feet can operate in some areas. They are restricted to about 1/3 of the Gulf, making the area a straight high risk, shallow water battleground for smaller, quiet boats. So that's why you see them little boats speeding, because it's better for them, because it's narrow and they can get around, hit you, and roll out real quick. But it can be bypassed though. Only Saudi Arabia and the UAE has operating cruise pipelines that could potentially reroute flow by the pass of the Strait of Hormuz with an estimated 3.5 to 5.5 MDB of availability capacity. So they could go around it and they could bypass the strait and go another way. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because they might just bypass it. Even though the strait is a main hub, it's a quicker way to get to wherever you need to get to, but it's not the only route. It's not the only route. You can go around. You can go a couple different ways to get the goods, but it's like a main ferry. It's like North Avenue or Harford Road or Pennsylvania Avenue. It's one of them, and everybody usually travel that way. All right, so that's pretty much it for this week, or I say today. I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, so I'll probably go down the ring. But that's pretty much it for the podcast 1700 block. I was trying to get on my other platform, but for some reason, something happened. But it's okay. So welcome back to the podcast 1700 block. I'm your host, Lamar. Be back soon. Thanks for tuning. And I get